leave their mark on the world. They're change makers, change bringers, catalysts. This year, the winner of the Emerging Leader of the Year award goes to Mehak Khanna, Assistant General Counsel and Legal Head, Airtel Digital Limited. Mehak has just joined Bharti Airtel in September 21. She was earlier with Lenskart, an e-commerce portal for eyewear. She's done her LLM from the London School of Economics. Mehak, many, many congratulations on your win.
Thank you so much. And it's a great honor to have been selected for this award. And it's just so humbling. And I really want to express my gratitude to the entire team and the jury for having selected me for this award. Thanks a lot.
Meg, do you feel like the legal profession is a closed club, where women often struggle to find a foothold? Often women, lawyers or judges who fight to make their voices heard, they're described as aggressive. But, this trait is seen as a virtue in the male professionals.
The way I look at it is slightly different. I think, of course, world over and generally in societies, that may have been the trend, because it has been a patriarchal setup world over. Why just single out one profession? But I feel things are changing. This particular decade, at least, for lawyers has been different. For women in general has been different. And we see women taking the lead in all walks of life, including the legal profession. And so I think with the change in mindset, with more opportunities being given to women, and with, of course, family support, things are changing.
Yeah, but when you see, say, for instance, representation of women in the Supreme Court, there are 4 women justices, which is the most ever out of the 34-member Supreme Court. The 25 high courts have about 81 women among 677 judges. Now, all of this data is from a BBC News report, which was out in September 21. So, in your experience, what are the barriers women face in accessing top positions? And, what kind of an impact will this have?
I think that there's, an issue that needs to be dealt with at the preliminary level. In terms of, of course, the numbers that we are talking about are definitely there, and they're changing. And the silver lining is that they're changing for the better. But if we look at the numbers as to the dropouts, amongst women students post secondary and senior secondary and graduation, and that is where I think the problem lies. If we look at the number of women that drop out at that level, then of course, then there would be no way that they would be able to go ahead and, pursue their professional courses or vocational training and be able to make something out of themselves or out of their lives. So the issue to be corrected, which I'm sure, the government, the think tanks, civil society, organizations, everybody is working towards it, is to have women sustain and continue with their basic education so that they can decide what they want to do with their life and career, and reduce the number of dropouts. And I think that's not just with the legal profession. That is a problem which is very elementary, and in our country more so at that level. So it's important to control the number of dropouts at the level of I think 10 standard plus 2 graduate level, so that we can encourage women to go forward and do something with their lives.
What attracted you to this profession?
For me, it was important to be able to be part of a profession where I could choose what I wanted to do and which side I wanted to represent. And I could do it without, being judged in terms of the gender that I belong to or the strata that I belong to. And to an extent, I think law has given me an opportunity to be able to do that. So if I advise on a particular issue, whichever side of the advice I give, that's strictly on merits. And if it's on merits, then nobody judges you as to which side of the law you're on. And and whether you're a man or a woman, or whether you're assertive or aggressive, because it's an advice coming from a lawyer. And I think it's a great equalizer to be in a profession where the advice is just taken so as to be coming from a professional, and there are very few professionals that are in fact respected for that. So probably law is one of those professions. Of course there are others. I mean, there's medicine, there's accountancy, but yes, law is also one of them, where the advice from a lawyer is just taken in the sense of a legal advice rather than the variables around it.
When you look back on your career, and you're just beginning, but is there some advice that you feel you should have got right when you were kind of beginning, and is there some of it that you'd like to give young people who are getting into this profession?
I mean, definitely, though I had no regrets. But yeah, I mean, I think when I started, probably if I would have got the advice to, be sort of in touch with my colleagues and associates with whom I actually started out in the profession. And, alongside work, also focus on building and keeping relationships, at least professional relationships as well. I think if I would have learned that earlier on in life, it would have kept me in good stead. But yes, nevertheless, I did, of course, learn it. But that's an advice that if I would have got, it would have definitely, been very useful earlier on in life. Because when you start off, your entire focus is on work, improving yourself. And of course, these things take a back seat. But in the long run, it's extremely important to have, relationships going as much as, focusing on your work. So that's something that I would definitely want to tell the youngsters, and yeah, not just young girls, but I think everybody who's starting out in this profession. And in terms of, to girls, I would just like to say that there are no substitutes to hard work. So just carry on doing what you're doing, what you know the best. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise. Just focus on what you're doing. Keep your blinders on, work hard, and in the process, you'll end up breaking the ceiling. And if not breaking the ceiling, you'll end up knocking on it so many times that it's going to break on its own. So just do your own thing, and that's it. The rest follows.
Is that what you did, Mehak?
I think so, because I didn't think about a lot of things. I just kept doing what I knew the best, because I just figured that this is what I know. And I'm in this profession because I really like it. I like what it gives me. I like the control that I have over the work that I do. I like the logical aspect of it. I like the analysis of it. I love everything about the profession. And all that is in my hands is to just keep doing it over and over again. And I think that is what experience is, because there's no substitute for hard work. There's no substitute for experience. There's certain things that you might know, but then you might not know what it leads to. And that is something that experience also teaches you. So yeah, I mean, it's a culmination of it. And eventually a decade down the lane, you realize that all you've done is you've been consistent. You've, persevered, you've come that far because you've just been consistent. And I think that's the key, to just be consistent, keep doing it, because there's no other way. At times it may work out, at times it may not, because none of us have a formula to make it work. All we can do is just keep doing what we know the best.
So do you have a goal, where you want to be on your journey a couple of years down the line? What you want?
Yeah, I mean, actually, it's a tough question, because I don't have a goal, honestly, in terms of tangibles, but I do have a goal to be in a position where I'm respected for my word. And that's, I think, what matters the most: to be acknowledged by your colleagues, to be acknowledged by your peers, to be acknowledged by your clients, internal or external, the people that you work for. Eventually, I think it's just that. And work, of course, is one part of it, but I think it's an entire gamut of package that you give to people as a professional. And they should just remember that, because I mean, in this whole rut of doing what we do every day, we at times forget that there's much more to this profession than just proving it to ourselves each day. We are doing it for somebody, and that somebody is a customer or a client, and they should actually appreciate it. So if they are happy, I think that that's more than half the job done. And yeah, so for everybody to be happy and to respect us for what we do, and yes, to respect me for my word, I think that's something that I would want, and I'm no different. I think I'm as greedy as a professional as anybody else, so I would want them to respect me for whatever I bring on the table. And yes, and honestly and genuinely enough, and also, I mean, give the feedback where I'm lacking as well, because I think that's the best learning for any professional, because there's no way that we can gauge where we are going wrong. Of course, there are certain experiences where we figure out that we've gone wrong, but the best learning comes from the feedback that people who worked with us give us. So I think that is what matters the most, at least to me.
Mehak, many, many congratulations once again, and we wish you continued success in everything that you do.
Thank you so much, and it's been a pleasure speaking to you. And I really hope that young girls who till about I think 2 decades ago were either reluctant or did not think of law as a profession, definitely think of taking it up, because I think it shouldn't be one of the last options. It should be one of the first options that people should think about when they're thinking about their professional journey and their career choices.
All right. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you.